Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Daily Detroit. It is Wednesday, May 8th, 2024, sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan. Coming to you from our studio in Techtown, I am Jer Stace, and across the table from me is none other than
Norris Howard, the Prince of Brightmo, returns after a extended stay in the state of Ohio. I was in Cleveland, but now I'm back. I've washed the Ohio off of me, and I feel back to myself.
Did you run into Drew Carey?
I did not. He is one of the few people from Ohio that I can appreciate. And, didn't run into Drew Carey, but I was in Cleveland for a little bit. So, back home though.
So my energy is a lie because I'm tired after last night, and people do not turn away. We're not going to spend forever on it, but this is because I am a fan. What a win by Detroit City FC last night.
I'm on an emotional high right now, and I don't think I'll be coming down for a long period of time, Jer. Because the thing about it is that Detroit City Football Club, we're still the scrappy club from the USL.
There are individual players on the Houston Dynamo that make more than like our entire roster.
Exactly. And, we play Houston Dynamo, the defending Open Cup champions. And not only, first of all, if you don't watch anything, go and watch the last 30 minutes of this match because it was nonsense. You had 3 goals in the last 30 minutes, goes into extra time. We defend incredibly well. We push it to penalties. Only for Saldaña, our backup goalkeeper, to make 2 stops in the penalty shootout and then score the penalty shootout winner. What a night for him and what a night for DCFC.
Huge. I was skeptical. I will fully admit that because the math was difficult on this one, leading up to the match because there have been some questions. But this shows you that the beautiful game is played on the pitch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, I just want the day where DCFC messes around and has to play Inter Miami.
Right?
Like,
I want to see Friendly the Dumpster Bear shove Messi in a trash can.
I mean, I would love it. Like, it would be phenomenal.
No offense to Messi. I just want to see his little legs just sticking out of a trash can and Hamtramck.
Messi is the GOAT, but at the end of the day, if it's us versus him, he got to go. Messi got to go. So, we move on to the round of 16 in the Open Cup. We don't know the draw yet. Don't know who we're going to be playing next.
It will probably be a team we can beat.
It probably will be
because there's a chance it could be Indy 11, I think, or these are all USL teams that are in the draw for our area. So here's the other thing. I get all of this stuff about how we need MLS, and I'm going to get on my horse for a minute. That Houston, I know there's reasons. It's hot down in Houston, but you could hear the ball on television. And that should never, ever be for a Division I side.
Move the franchise, bring it here. I'm just saying is that, and obviously, listen, DCFC fans, I'm not saying, don't come at me in the comments, but I'm saying that in the sense of, the soccer culture is not there. There are other towns in America that I think would appreciate an Open Cup match a lot more than that Houston crowd. That was literally pathetic. It was pathetic.
There is no way the City Faithful would have allowed you to hear the ball getting kicked.
No.
The other thing I got sent like a million times over the last week was this video of this Gunna concert at the Fox Theater.
Oh, Gunna wanna, man. He out here.
He is. And this balcony that was swaying with all the people who were hyped about the concert and people kind of frankly losing their minds over it because this is a video that very clearly shows this older balcony kind of swaying and people, I put a poll out there, the super vast majority, almost 90% of people said that like this is a nope to see this, but not only does Olympia Development say that this is fine, but
if you have watched any form of European soccer at any point, you've seen this happen at multiple stadiums. Stadiums and concert venues, especially ones that have been remodeled or refurbished in the last 30 to 40 years, they do that. They specifically sway and move so it doesn't collapse. If it doesn't have sort of like that, I forgot what they called it, but it's basically a form of rebar that allows it to do that.
Because otherwise you have to have a lot of pillars so that it's a strong box.
Exactly. And then you have obstructive views, and nobody likes that. I thought this was cool to see. Obviously, nobody got hurt. If people would have got hurt, then yes, I'm sure it would have been a tragedy and all over national news. But the engineers know more than us, and they know what the capacity is. And there we are. We just get to see a cool video of people going crazy at a concert.
Now, I don't know. I still don't know, man. I'm not sure I would go up there. Would you?
I'm too old to be in the back. Like, I'm too old to be going to standing room only rap concerts. If I'm not in the side balcony VIP area or something like that, I ain't going.
Okay, is there a too old for the concert number? Or is it just a vibe?
There is not a too old for the concert. There is too old to go be seeing X. Like Gunna, I am too old to go see him. He is not my generation. I can listen to his music on Spotify. I can do. Too old for me, too young for me. I can't do it. And that's okay. I know my place. This is the beauty of aging, Jer. Is that sometimes the youth must be allowed to be the youth without having the old guy in the club sitting there, with his 2X, tall button down and, the fitted cap tilted to the side with the do-rag under it. We don't need that. We don't need that in 2024.
Who are you going to see? Who would you see? What's this line for you?
As a hip hop fan, I will freely admit I think hip hop sucks live. Outside of a few key artists, I would see Kendrick Lamar live, without a doubt. I will see him live any day of the week. But beyond that, I actually would just prefer to see other sorts of artists live. I really like live jazz. I would prefer to go see live jazz, Kamasi Washington.
Are you bringing the lawn chair out to Hart Plaza?
I have before, and I will do it again.
I know why we're friends now.
Yeah, I will. Well, see, here's the thing. That was sort of my rite of passage as a grown ass Detroit man. That's a rite of passage. Is if whether you go to Aretha Franklin or Shane Park as it used to be, or you go to the Jazzfest. If you become lawn chair man, officially you have graduated to grown ass man. I started drinking like Hennessy. It's great. Like, you move to the next phase of life. I can't do.
Do you get better at your spices?
You get better at your spices. You start barbecuing more. You start wearing white linen a lot. Sandals.
I appreciate that. Look, I'm a seersucker guy. I love seersucker.
Yeah, this is how we move forward. Listen, to all the black men out there listening, embrace that. Embrace your uncle phase. Because now I'm uncle. I'm Uncle Norris. And I got to embrace that. You know what I'm saying? So you about to see me this summer, linen suits. You might see my toes out. You never know. All right? But that's where we are in this lifestyle. And, I'm happy to made it this far.
You're like a Pokemon evolving.
Evolving, man. You know what I'm saying? I went from Charmeleon to now Charizard.
Let's get into some news. This is going to be about transit. County Executive Warren Evans, this is in Wayne, revealed plans for a November ballot initiative that might extend public transit into every municipality in the county. There's currently 17 of them, including some that you know well. I'll go quickly through some of the highlights. You've got Canton Township, Livonia, Northville, Plymouth Township, and a bunch of others that are not opted into SMART or not opted into transit. Critics have said for a long time that these opt-out communities make gaps in the transit map, and they make it difficult for people to get to work, to get to appointments, all that kind of stuff. This would eliminate the opt-out choice, similar to in Oakland County. The plan is not announced, this is according to a report in the Detroit News. I'm interested to see this because I have a lot of strong thoughts. I think it's kind of crazy that Wayne County is not all in on at least the most basic of transit, if not a lot more.
Listen, I agree. And, I'm out there in Canton and I'm making sure I vote for this because the thing about it is that we often lament the issues with public transit in Southeast Michigan in particular. And part of that issue is that communities are allowed to opt out of the free flow of citizens. And I think that should actually not be legal. I think you should not be allowed to do that.
Other places do not do this. Like functional cities, I visit a lot of cities that are growing, a lot of regions that are growing. I I'm sorry, but we're not the leaders and best.
We are woefully behind. It is impossible and really disgusting to me that, people not being allowed to get to their workplace or freely travel. Like, why can't you take a bus down Ford Road from downtown to go to IKEA in Canton? Let's say
for a while IKEA ran a bus.
That's what I'm saying. So let's think about this. You move to downtown Detroit or Corktown or whatever, and you want to be able to go to the only IKEA in all of Michigan and get some cheap furniture that you could take back to your apartment. But guess what? You wanted to live the downtown lifestyle, so you don't have a car. So how else do you get out there? So now you got to order it? Yeah, that's an extra $100. That's silly. So, for me, as somebody who is in one of these municipalities, I will definitely be voting for it if it comes to ballot, because I refuse to believe that it is beneficial to any of these cities to not have functioning public transit.
Can I double down with a possibly unpopular opinion?
Hit me.
I think we should double or triple the smart millage.
I agree. I don't agree. And here's the thing.
Because we need more money. So part of the issue why we have the service that we have, and we should look for other sources too. But we got to pay for, we aren't paying enough. That's part of the issue with the roads too. We want to say, oh, well, it's this or that. You're living in a la-la land. If you think if it's fraud or all this, you're living in not real world. You don't travel. Because in reality, we just don't spend enough per capita on transit, roads, any of those things.
No, and if you actually look at the millages from the municipalities that already have smart, 57% in Oakland County already voted for the millage to go up. People want it. That's plurality. 60 and above is plurality to me, right? 65% of Macomb County voted for the millage to go up. 71% in Wayne County voted for the millage to go up. People want this to work, but it can't work if you have gaps in the system. So I agree with you. Does it need to provide more? Yes, and I think most people would be okay with voting for more. You should be able to take
an easy, regular bus to Wyandotte or something like that, and you got to connect other communities. So one of the challenges about a place like Canton is I think there needs to be a way to work that where it connects with Washtenaw and Ann Arbor, because there's so many connections to Ann Arbor and people
Absolutely.
And everything else, but you can't do it unless you're opted into it's impossible unless you opt in to connect to Ann Arbor.
There is no place in Wayne County that should not have smart bus service, period. I honestly think, and I'm happy to see this, I honestly think that I don't know how all the laws work, so what I'm saying might not necessarily be the right words to say, but I don't think that should be possible in a municipality. I don't think it should be possible. I think public transit needs to be written into everybody's charter. I think public transit is a fundamental right for citizens of a metropolitan area, and I think that it is, quite honestly, still quite classist and racist that people don't want to support public transit because, it might bring the wrong kinds of people to our community. That's stupid. People want to take the bus so they can get to work.
And it's not just about the bus. There are other services that are being rolled out, that ways to cover areas that are a little bit more far-flung. I've talked about this a bit on the show before, our curse of geography, where we have 3 counties kind of overlapping the center of our population. That's nonsensical. It's absolutely a huge pain in the tail for getting anything done, because in most other places, the major city center is in the center of a county and you can have a coordinated government effort. And here, it's a mess. And I know that it'll never change, but we need to think about how we change things and how we approach things so that everybody can get the services we need. And look, Warren Evans is right. We're behind. And people accuse me of being too much of a booster and all that other stuff. I will be the first one to tell you there are areas that we are fundamentally behind that we have to change. And part of what we need to actually force on the table for things at Mackinac, the policy conference coming up and other stuff, because I don't think we realize. It's almost like the Tigers fans. It's almost like the Tigers, where it's like we accept that they're going to be terrible. We're going to accept that Chris Ilitch is not going to spend the money and going to be tens of millions of dollars, like $60 million behind the average. It's fine because it's the Tigers. You're a hater if you say otherwise. No, we deserve a good baseball team. We deserve a good region. we deserve people stepping up for it.
I personally believe that if we want to take this to the next level, I mean, I mentioned it on the show earlier this year that, emulate San Francisco's system, right? San Francisco is a town geographically that is the same size as the west side of Detroit, just the west side, right? They have a surface streetcar system, not unlike the Q line. So let's do a public funding 60-40 split, public and private, billionaire step up. Let's expand that system, streetcars on the surface, and at least for the city of Detroit in the inner ring suburbs, let's say take it to Ferndale, Redford, whatever, and you have a system that people will use. Like, I think of Grand River, that street is entirely too large for the amount of traffic that's on it right now.
You could put dedicated lanes in, which is what they should have done with the Q line.
I agree, but now that's a finding. It's a learning. It's a thing that we could take and move forward and say, okay, here is how we implement this in the rest of the city.
But people lose their minds if you take away any of their lanes, even though we have way, 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 way too many lanes.
We have way too many lanes on majority of our streets, but the cool
people feel like that's a loss. People feel like it's a step back when we take away lanes, and
you won't need the lanes if you put the streetcar there, because less people will be taking their cars.
Well, less people are already taking their cars if you look at the traffic data, because there's less people.
Right, exactly. So there's even less reason for that to be an argument. People just don't want change. They don't want, they don't want things to alter what they're already doing. But I think ultimately, if you told people in the city of Detroit and in most of Wayne County, hey man, we're going to invest $4 to $5 billion on a surface level streetcar mass transit system. We're finally going to bring that to the city of Detroit for the next 7 to 10 years. Yes, it's going to suck. There's going to be a lot of construction. There's going to be a lot of shit in the way. Ultimately, the citizens would love it. And it might.
So you think it's the lack of vision? Like, yes. Are we thinking too small? Do we need to present a bigger vision? Yes. I think we need to, at least for Detroit and the inner ring suburbs, we need to step away from the whole bus conversation, because all that's doing is adding more to the traffic issue. All that does is add more to the climate change issue. Well, I think about the draft and how I went everywhere on like the DDOT and did the Woodward and the Michigan, got to all these things. Nobody else took it. But that Q line, because it was rail, look, as much as I understand the issue of like deploying buses is cheaper, but the market wants rail.
Do you and you know why it works? Because it's easy for people to understand.
Well, rail people know where it goes because they can see the rail.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but people don't think about like a bus as a fixed line. I know there's going to be transit advocates get mad at me in the comments, but it is what it is.
It's like the subway. This train can only go where this track is. That's it.
And there's a confidence in that.
And even if I go all the way if I fuck around, fall asleep, and go all the way to the end of the line, guess what? It's got to come right back this way. So that's the thing. People found comfort in the Q line. They found comfort in rail. People want to use it. And so let's make it worthwhile, guys. Let's make it worthwhile. Let's expand that system, because we're not going to get a subway or an elevated train car system. That's going to cost way too much money, and that's going to be even more disruptive.
All right, finally, this is a story that I think is interesting because I know, Norris, how you love your political intrigue.
Oh, yes.
All right. So Adam Hollier is running for a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives in the 13th District. Now he's going up against Shri Thanadar, who he is the incumbent in the 13th District. Now, here is the issue. Thanadar is challenging a number of Hollier's signatures. Hollier's lawyers say this challenge is not fair and meant to stop black votes from having their say. They also say that Tanadar's complaint doesn't clearly show which signatures he believes is fake. However, Hollier's campaign admitted some signatures on their petitions were probably forged by someone they paid. They insist that this person also collected many real signatures, and they don't want all the signatures thrown out. There is signature drama because there is a back and forth in this. I think that there's a few things here, but outside of the signature issue, which I think is the news peg to talk about, I think there's a deeper thing with this 13th district race that I think we need to have some real talk about, Norris.
Yeah, it's too many people. Have a candidate. And this, I point this directly at, the powers that be in the Detroit Democratic Party or in, whoever wants to make these decisions.
Like if you don't, let's just be fair on this. If you are somebody who does not want Shri in office, I'm not putting my position out on that I do or do not. I'm saying this if you are somebody who does not want him in office, there needs to be some alignment.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. But the point is that there's so much muddied waters in this particular race, and it has been even, when Shri won the seat. It's just too much noise, and that's part of the issue in a lot of Detroit politics, but specifically in this particular race. Signatures or not signatures, we can even go far and talk about how archaic and silly that system is to begin with, but Shri was always going to challenge whatever came his way. I don't think it mattered who it was or what it was about. He's going to try his best to hold on to his seat. Why wouldn't he? So this was bound to happen. But if you have one singular candidate who everybody sort of agrees on, they have a vision and they have a solid platform, then you don't have these sorts of issues.
So for you, the Democratic Party, if they want to unseat Shri, have to line up behind one person and not allow what happened last time, because this race is going to be decided in the Democratic primary.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that means telling people no.
Yes, that is exactly what it means. And I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people need to be told no.
Because here's the thing. When I go out into parts of this district that are not in the core city, people like Shri. I hate to tell you this. His face is... I hate to tell people who are against this or think like. But I'll be honest. Nobody knows who Adam Hollier is outside of the city of Detroit.
But that's a.
I don't mean that as a knock. Like nobody knows.
No. But that's a product of branding. And I'm going to say this, and a lot of people don't want to admit this. But in the city of Detroit, everybody thinks that just being black means they win. It doesn't mean that, people. You don't have a divine right to be a legislature for the city of Detroit by virtue of just being black. I think Shri has already proved that. He has proved that enough people will vote for him because he's visible. He's got ads up. He's got billboards. I'm not necessarily saying you have to agree with any of his policy stances or anything that he believes in or votes for. That's not my point. My point is to all of you who potentially want to be candidates in this district and across the city, if you want to be serious, the black vote is not the vote that will win you.
And the black vote is not limited to the city of Detroit. You look at changing demographics in Lincoln Park, Taylor, you've got growing Hispanic communities in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to run in the district that's real.
So you can't lean on that. And that's the thing that I just think a lot of people don't really want to admit about the political climate here in the city. Sure, we want to see more representation in our legislature. Obviously, that was the big sort of knock against Shri. But at the end of the day, those people voted for Shri.
I mean, he did not get a majority, but that's because the field was full.
The field was crazy, right? But he won. He won. And you can like that or not like that. But if you want to beat him, you're going to have to try to out-promote him. And it seems like not a lot of people are very good at that.
With that, I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Norris Howard.
Thank you so much for listening to Your Daily Detroit. Do not forget to drop 5 stars in your favorite podcast app or tell a friend about the show. Until tomorrow, thank you so much for listening. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.